Good evening, viewers. Welcome to Daily Politics. Welcome back. And to our today's conversation, there are about 5 gender-related bills currently in the National Assembly which have not been passed. However, the 9th National Assembly was unable to see to their final stage and assent by the President. Not just a new legislature, but also new sets of legislators making the 10th Assembly. Women groups have renewed their clamor, this time to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, appealing that he takes over the bills and see to their passage. To discuss these issues and many more, we have in the studio Mrs. Felicia Onibo. She's a social development expert. She's also an expert in gender and governance policy advocacy and is the national coordinator of the 100 Women Lobby Group, among many other portfolios. Ma, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
We're happy having you in our studio. Yeah. And of course, we planned having you since yesterday. And coincidentally, just a moment ago, the President issued fresh appointments. Of course, we've been expecting most likely to have women among the security architecture because we have generals, right? We didn't see any. Are you worried?
I'm worried about a lot of things, actually.
All right. Maybe then let's start with the appointment of the service chiefs. Of course, he mentioned about almost, we have 7 here, we have 5 here, we have 5 here, quite a number, almost 17 to actually reject the security architecture.
Yeah, for security, I would have thought that we'll begin to look at the possibility of having women on board. You know, considering all the challenges we've had and we haven't really had adequate solutions to the problems at hand.
Yeah.
You know, in terms of security. And we also know that, you know, with the security challenges we've had in this country, the number of people, you know, the percentage of women and children that have suffered, you know, and things seem to be getting worse. If we have women that are qualified for these positions, why can't we give them a try?
Opportunity.
Yes, and we have them.
Yeah.
We have a good number of women in the upper echelon of
both the services,
of all the services.
Yeah.
Why can't we give them a chance and let's see what they can bring to the table? You know, people say, oh, they are good. You know, if they are good, try them and see if indeed some of the solutions we are looking for that we can't get them. However, let's leave it the way it is for now. There are other areas where women actually need to be considered quickly. You know, because the picture we seem to be seeing across the country is photographs of all male. Of course, we have all male governors.
Yeah.
All male this, all male. Yeah, I mean, it's okay, but it's not very okay for the country.
Yeah. You know? And he submitted 20 names, which have been approved by the National Assembly for appointment of advisors to the 9th Assembly and approved for him. So far, he has made 12 appointments, and we have 4. We have Mrs. Olu Vahije, Special Energy, you know, Dr. Salma Anaskolo, Health. Today, we have Hadiza Bala Usman, SA Policy Coordination, and Hanatu Musa, Culture and Entertainment Economy. I'm sure you will say you are satisfied.
I'm happy.
Okay.
I'm happy to hear.
But not satisfied.
Yeah. No. You know, I'm happy to hear of this. I'm happy because the positions are not just tokenistic. I know that we don't have our ministers on board yet. You know, I'm waiting to hear that, and I'm sure a lot of our women are waiting to know who our ministers are going to be. As for special advisors, you know, I'm actually impressed that the president have found it necessary to look at women who will be close to him,
yes,
telling him this is what you should do and this is what, advising him. That's a good thing. We're happy about that. That people are saying we want 35% affirmative action, we want this percentage does not mean it should stand on that percentage. If we have people who are good, and we have a lot of them, women who are good, who can steer the ship of this country to the right direction, bring them on board. Let's not say we have to have only 4 among the 20, or we have to have only this among. No, I mean I'm happy that we have these 4 women on board, and they are good
and quite strategic positions.
And
you have energy, you have health,
and they are
you have
going
policy,
to be handling strategic positions.
And
we've heard them talk. We've heard them. We have seen their portfolio. They are worthy of the positions that have been given. But we are still waiting. We are looking forward to more goodies from him. We want him to actually look at women closely and look at the situation of things in the country and see what happens if a woman
is given the opportunity.
Yes.
You are the you come from the 100 Women Lobby Group.
Yeah.
Yes, National Coordinator, 100 Women Group. How do you arrive at that name? Just 100 women?
No.
Okay.
We know that in the political arena,
yes,
it's a game of numbers.
Yeah.
And we know that women have been shortchanged over the years. And that it's good for us to open the space, particularly in civil society, to open as many space as we can garner, to women, to actually come on board, air their views, say what they want, say, whatever bothers them, and let's take it on board and run with it. We also know that if we are able to look at a number of women in a particular state,
yes,
and we replicate it in all the states, that's a good number. So we are looking at 100 women steering processes.
Okay.
In each state.
Wow.
And possibly at local government level. In some states, we've been able to get such at local government level. And we have...
Women of pedigree and all that.
Yeah, women that people regard at their level.
Yes.
And...
so they can be pace setters of sorts?
They can be pace setters. They can also speak on behalf of their own. They can, relate effectively with their own kind on issues that they want. Such women, for example, are getting to understand that it is necessary for women to represent their interests, because when we are talking about children that are not doing well, children that are having issues, these women relate with it, and they know who to talk to. If they want solution, or if they want their children to go to good schools and they don't understand, they know who to quickly run to in their own community. And that's the that's the vision for the organization, that in every state we have at least 100 women representing the interest of different groups of people. And then at national level, we have more than 100.
Before the 9th National Assembly ended,
yes,
quite a number of stories across platforms from your group and others pushing for the passage of some bills that you found very pertinent. Among them, there are 5 that stood out. What happened that none of these 5, which we will mention one after the other, could not succeed? On a general note, who do you think sabotaged those bills?
I would say that the leaders in the 9th Assembly, and their and the other members.
Their handlers and members.
You know, were the ones.
Oh.
And it's really very sad because these are leaders who, or these are people who have had access to what's going on in other countries. They know that, countries are actually rated by their gender status. How many women do you have leading processes in your country? How many women do you have leading, processes in different sectors?
Yeah.
And if your status is like the one that we have in Nigeria, it means you are at the back.
Yes.
There you'll be talking among the Committee of Nations, and they'll just look at you and wonder what is wrong with this one, as if he doesn't even know that we know what is going on in their country. And apart from that, internal politics globally, the issue of the development status of your country.
Yeah.
The fact that you do not have women in strategic positions, the fact that you do not have a good number of girls, in schools, doing very well, the fact that you still have high rate of maternal mortality, the fact that you still have high rate of infant mortality.
Yeah.
All those things go back to the fact that there is disparity in gender administration and in the dynamics of gender in this country.
Why did you take your case to the president? Because I'm laying foundation before we go deep into the bills. Why did you take your case to President Tinubu? Because you said you want him to take over the bills, you wanted him to push to see that they come to light.
One, I know that President Tinubu is competent enough to take certain actions.
All right.
By his antecedents in Lagos State. The way he moved and bulldozed his
landmines and all that.
Oh yes, he made sure that certain things happened at a time when everybody thought it was impossible.
Yeah, including having a female deputy governor. Right?
Yes, and we know that he can do the same.
Is it that you lost confidence in the National Assembly, or you want to start from top to bottom?
No. I did not lose confidence in the National Assembly.
All right.
I believe in representational systems.
Okay.
I believe that it is good for us to have a viable, strong National Assembly representing the interest of the people.
Yes.
Because the people they are the ones that gave mandate to those representing them at the National Assembly.
Exactly.
However, our experience with the Ninth Assembly was a shameful one. The Ninth Assembly, with all the brains and intellectuals that we have within that system, they did not see what we were seeing and what we were clamoring for. They didn't see that it was necessary for us to begin to take Nigeria to a higher level.
Yeah.
So the issue of patriarchy became so strong with them that these women, what are they looking for?
Yes, but is there a nexus, ma'am? Is there a nexus between the inability to pass those bills and poor representation of women in the parliament?
Of course there is, but the situation is worse now if we look at the representation of women
that is why I'm
in parliament.
Asking whether
I mean, if
this
we
is
had,
what
of course, if we had more women in parliament, the story would have been different.
Welcome back. If you are just joining, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our social platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. Still have in the studio Dr. Kabiru Adamu, security and intelligence expert, as well as the Chief Executive of Beacon Consult. We also have Assistant Inspector General Police retired Wilson Enelagu, who joins us from Wilberforce in Sierra Leone. Doctor, you have national security architecture. I've seen quite a number, but yours appear different. I wanted to shed more light on it. on the enormous responsibility around the security establishment and whether it's really working or not, because I can see we have the Office of the National Security Advisor, we have the Ministry of Justice, Ministry of Defense, Ministry of Interior, Ministry of Transport, Ministry of Police Affairs, Ministry of Agriculture, the Secretary to the Government of the Federation, and then the Chief of Staff to the President. All of them, they have certain security sectors under them. Is it normal?
No, it's not normal, unfortunately. It's a creation that over time, for some reasons, this convoluted structure that you are seeing has evolved.
Okay.
And part of the reason why we did this is to show how collaboration and coordination would be difficult in this circumstance.
Oh.
Yes. Let me use the police as an example. If you look at this structure, you
Yes.
find out that there are several agencies that carry out policing functions,
Yes.
but are now spread into different ministries.
Okay.
NDLEA as an example. Then if you go under Ministry of Interior, you have the Correctional Service, you have NC, Nigeria Civil Security and Civil Defense Corps,
Yes.
to an extent. And then if you go under Ministry of Police Affairs, which is the main ministry,
Yes.
you have several others too. You can also argue that EFCC and to an extent ICPC carry out policing functions.
Yeah.
Because remember, they were actually removed from the police to create that body. Most of the chairpersons of EFCC have been former police officers, apart from the immediate past chairman.
Yes.
So in this instance, you have different agencies of policing under different ministries. How do they come together to carry out their work when these ministries are autonomous and there is no platform really that I'm aware of except for bi-monthly meeting that sometimes takes place, which is to discuss general security and not necessarily to discuss policing functions.
Uh-oh.
So this is part of the reason why we thought this structure would show the relevance and importance of appointing someone who has an internal security background like Nuhu Ribadu. Malam Nuhu Ribadu.
Yeah, to man the national security.
If you count all of these agencies that I've mentioned,
Yes.
apart from the 4 that are military, all the others are to an extent either paramilitary or some component of civilian security. And all in all, we counted them, there are 29.
They are
So
offshoot of the police.
if you take 4 out of 29, it means you still have 25.
Yes.
And one of them, customs, as an example. Imagine the significance of the custom in national security
Exactly.
and immigration.
But they've been taken somewhere, Ministry of Interior.
No, customs at the last time.
Okay,
initially presidency. It used to be with
exactly.
finance, and then now with presidency. So you get how convoluted.
Yeah.
Now, it is this that makes me worried. We've appointed individuals that are capable, but this is what they are inheriting.
All right, let me hear from AIG. What is your take on this? You've seen the organogram there, and Dr. Adamu is already comfortable with it.
Thank you very much. I've seen the organogram. It's a little bit faint, but this is rather because the understanding the understanding I want you to have
Yes.
on the national security architecture, which eventually should be properly codified, because when you are talking about security architecture, you take it from the ward level. And I like to talk about the ward level because even at those ward level, you have police posts. And they're very critical. You have the paramount chiefs in some of those places. And those can have their own security committee, which you can call either Emir Security Committee or District Security Committee, which can be DISEC, for example.
Or vigilante group.
And then you have, for example, so when you have something like the district or ward or chiefdoms, and all those places, you need to have those. And so when you progress from there, you then progress to the local government. Now, in the local government, who are the security heads in that local government? You have the DPU. You could have the prison superintendent. You could have the NDLA commander. You could have civil defense, and you could have safety, people like the road safety, the fire service. Now, when you progress it from there up to the state level, but the unfortunate thing that we have, that they hardly meet. Even the local government security committees never meet. So even if you have a world level security committee and you observe something, you don't even know whom to pass it to. And that is why in my earlier decision, I emphasized that the role of the National Security Advisor is, in effect, is the national coordinator of security. And also I did suggest that coming on board, he's got to look at the structure of his office and the security architecture and begin to look at it. How do I get this organized? And when you are talking of proactivity or coordination of security, and you don't have those, I did make remarks about those. And that's why I say, even you could start by in the geopolitical zones, you could have his coordinators, national security coordinator. And what do? They begin to bring together the deliberations. And then he can make suggestions because of talking about duplicity and other things. And then he will observe his coordinators in the geopolitical zones. But if there is funding, it's even better he makes it state. That means the state security committees, when they are meeting, his coordinator is there. And in that way, if the meetings are not taking place and the governors are only waiting until there has been a spike in kidnapping, spike in banditry, then they will call meeting.
Yeah, maybe we have a little glitch with the connectivity. We'll get back to him. And you have heard what he said. How do you think the National Security Advisor will get it right? Because some of the components he mentioned, like vigilantes and all that, they are not captured as per government, to say that, okay, they are part of the real security architecture of the country.
Yeah, the constitution only at
local
security,
now is very important, as he mentioned. Yeah.
But the framework for that is to be driven by some of the agencies that exist within the federal security structure. Okay. So as an example, the police, just like he explained, has chain of command down to the local government, and that the essence of that is for representation. And then recently, under President Buhari, they implemented community policing, and I think we have a community policing committee in each local government. Yeah. We also have constables that have been recruited. So that will be the task of the new...
Those constabularies, right?
Constabularies,
yeah.
Not constables, sorry, constabularies.
Yes.
It will be the responsibility of the new AIG to implement that reform. A document has been created. That document was given to the immediate past AIG. I would urge the new AIG to pick that document, see the components of the reform. We've just mentioned two. The challenge with the constabularies is something about payment. When the policy was introduced, politicians thought there was money to it. So they brought a lot of their people into it, and then eventually recognized that there was no money. The conception, the idea was not to pay them any money. They are working for the community.
Community is like volunteerism.
Volunteer, exactly. So now there is that challenge. Where does the money come from to pay them? So the new AIG, working together with the minister, once he's appointed, will have to find a solution to that. The other one is to ensure that the community policing committees in each local government becomes functional. Now with that, it means we would know what is happening at that level. Because once they're meeting, they will be able to discuss issues that affect them, and then it will be cascaded up to probably even the AIG before action is taken.
All right, thank you very much. Now, AIG, we're talking about funding, which is very important. You have had Dr. Adamu talking about that. Yes, how can the new IGP leverage on the new government the opportunity at his disposal to make sure that there is adequate funding for the police, so that we have less of military presence for civil matters in the country?
Well, I think the IG has to show competence and capability. That the MPF is able to play its role as the leading as the agency that has primacy on internal security. And that will start, of course, resources, equipment, personnel hiring, because the number that we have today is the Nigeria police is grossly understaffed. So he will need to leverage on his relationship with the CEC to get more hands into the force.
All right.
And then when you have this, you talk of equipment, because you cannot talk of security these days without talking about technology. So he will need technology. He will need to look for the right officers in right position.
All right.
Most officers who do their work, some are quite good, but some are better. Let's look at competence. And this competence is not about going to school to just cram and pass. And you are talking about community partnership, community engagement, eschewing corruption, having that passion for the job.
All right.
Because the IG will be in a position to identify these officers. And then, sorry, I need to make a point. The AIGs are hardly utilized.
Okay.
And I have always said, the commissioners of police are right there at the middle level.
All right.
The AIG is a link between the commissioner and the IG.
Yeah.
So the IG must not go micromanage.
Okay.
He must utilize
must delegate, if I
assistant
get you right.
generals of police.
Exactly.
So
Thank
that
you very
in their
much,
offices,
AIG.
they can have monitoring
All right.
and evaluation
Thank
to
you.
begin to monitor what the officers do.
All
So
right.
the IG must not see himself as a sole administrator,
Yeah.
but that he's got capable DIGs.
Thank you very
AIGs
much. I'm
and
forced
all
to
that.
cut you
That
because
way
of
is going to succeed.
limited time we have. Yeah. Thank you very much. May I have your final take in less than 30 seconds? You're talking about delegation of responsibility and then more hands and all that. But just for the Army, for instance, in 2015, the budget was 150, it ballooned to 580. Air Force from 77, it has ballooned to 184. Your final was, how can we get it right? We can see the funding has never ceased, but the demands keep increasing.
Accountability.
Excellent.
As simple as that.
All right.
In the area of financial accountability and then operational accountability.
All right.
Financial accountability would plug all the loopholes. Police generates a lot of funding.
Yeah.
A lot of funding.
So they should be accountable.
And the new IG needs to look at that. How
All right.
does he remove that funding from the pockets of individuals into the policing
establishment.
coffers so that they use it? The same thing
Thank you.
with the service chiefs.
Thank you
and
very
of
much.
course the NSA.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kabir Adamu, security expert, as well as the executive of Beacon Consulting for coming to the program. And AIG Wilson Alelagu, thank you very much for joining us in the program.
It's a pleasure.
I will
Thank you.
have you again. Welcome back. If you are just joining the program, this is Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow the conversation across our platforms on Facebook, Instagram, and watch us live on YouTube. I still have the Chairman, Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission in Kano State, Barrister Muhui Magaji, who was reinstated today. Welcome back to the program. Yes, the role you played, or the role the Public Complaints Commission played in the removal of the former Emir of Kano, Sunusi, is still fresh in the minds of many Nigerians, both at home and abroad. And ahead of the election, you know, the leader of the Konkosia, he said, once NNPP wins, you are going to revisit that dethronement. Now you are back as the chairman of this very important complaints commission. If the government asks you to revisit the matter, will you accept it?
Well, first of all, I will correct the notion that the commission played a role in dethroning the immediate past Emir of Kano State. It is not true.
Okay, what did you do?
Yes, of course, the commission has carried out an investigation activities into what is termed to be some activities of the Emirate Council. And I can vividly tell the audience here that the commission was able to recover at least about 370 million naira or thereabouts out of that case.
All right.
So which means we have done our job. What happens with the political authority is a different issue entirely. We have done our job, we have investigated the matter, and we have never come out to say that this is, or rather the former emir is a culprit or so things or so things. We have done our job, and at least we have concluded to where we can go. Now, and you might not be unaware of the fact that we have investigated even the present emir, or
yes, that
we
is
have investigated
actually the question I wanted to ask you. Yeah. Okay, go ahead. Yes.
So some of the activities of the emir during the present emir. So which means we are not selective. We have done our job, and we not ask anybody to dethrone the present emir. So as far as I'm concerned, we have done our job, and we are not in any way political, and we are not biased in what we are doing.
Barrister, you know, as you rightly said, you are not a rubber stamp. But I vividly remember that while investigating the reigning emir, at a point you were purportedly or allegedly asked to stop the investigation. Is that correct?
Well, asking us to stop an investigation is one thing, and we stopping the investigation is another thing. Everybody that is familiar with what we are doing in Kano, especially during my time, will know that we are stubborn, and we made ourselves to be a stubborn institution that goes after anything that comes across the lens of the commission to be something that perhaps prohibited by the law that is established commission, or any other law prohibiting corruption. And apart from what we are doing in the aspect of anti-corruption, we are equally empowered to look at the public complaints, mediation between parties, for human rights and what have you. And we have done our best. So as far as I'm concerned, we might be asked, if I can answer you indirectly, we may be asked to do one thing and we'll do the other things. So yes, we have done our investigation activities, and the commission was along the line muzzled to some extent. Yeah. But at least the records are there. What we have done is there, and would not do anything to compromise it. But so I think we have done what we're supposed to do.
The issues that you were allegedly asked to stop investigating revolves around sales of emirate property that time. And going by, if we add 1 + 1, going by the body language of the new administration, going by the body language of the spiritual leader of NNPP ahead of the election, those matters will be revisited. And the tendency is that your agency will be asked to carry on with the investigation. Will you do that if they ask you to do it?
Well, if an individual complains to the commission, we are obliged to look into that commission. Yeah. What more of government? So I used to tell my audience anytime I find myself in platform like this that we do not manufacture parts. We don't use to manufacture laws. We only marry parts and laws to see if there's any infractions. So if tomorrow the government in power asks the commission to investigate certain things, we are empowered by law to look into that directive of the commission, of the government. But the only problem is that we cannot go and create offense for somebody just for us to just come and indict somebody. No, we don't do that, and we cannot do it. And even if you indict somebody, you cannot. Ultimately, you take somebody to court, and when you go to court, you will be embarrassed, just like in my own case. Yeah. So as far as I'm concerned, my own case can serve as a replica or as a yardstick for me to at least do what is most appropriate. So if I will answer you directly, if the government asks us to investigate any matter, we'll do it. Yeah. The outcome of that investigation will determine what the next line of action will be.
Are you now saying your statement by Governor Yusuf is strictly based on the court judgment, not based on the relationship you have with them?
It might be the combination of two. I will not come and pass this camera of all the audience in Nigeria and beyond to tell lies. I believe if had it been, I did not participate actively in terms of the last election that happens. Perhaps it might be different, especially when some people are saying that this is a stubborn person, because if he can do it to the previous administration that they appointed him, and he did not compromise. What do you expect from this? Allow myself to be very close to this government, even before they come in, at least played another role. But I believe it is the court order and the court judgment that is the panacea for me to come back.
All right. After your ouster by the previous government, you doubled into politics. First to PDP, yes, where you picked its gubernatorial ticket. And then later you now dumped it and then joined the NNPP. How are you going to strike a balance now? Because already you are partisan. People know that you are a politician, a member of NNPP. Well, so how are you going to manage so that some of your actions and inactions will not be misconstrued as vendetta?
Well, first of all, I'm not a judge. I'm only an investigator. An investigator is always biased, so it's not a vendetta.
All right.
What I'm saying is we investigate issues. Based on our findings, we'll go to judge. We project our findings, and the judge will decide what will be the outcome of it.
Yeah.
So now, if you look at in some jurisdiction now, like in America, at subnational, just like Kano State, secretary to the state, who is invariably the one that is conducting election, is equally a partisan, because he contests election and win election. The Attorney General to contest election. What I'm trying to find out here is that being partisan politics will not stop you from taking job like this. And I might even be an advocate of the fact that in future we will see a situation whereby Nigerians will elect those that are supposed to be in the position like myself. Wow. So that at least they will have a constitutional guide that against what I find myself in it.
Yeah.
Now, and as a second example I will give you is an issue of Attorney General, who happens to be the chief law officer of the state or of the federation. And is all partisan. So this did not change anything. We are to investigate, and I was partisan even before I was appointed in the first place.
Wow.
I happen to be the local government vice chairman of my local government 2 consecutive times. Okay. And I was appointed, hitherto, prior to my appointment, that place, the Kano State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission, was established in 2004.
2004.
That is 2004.
Yeah.
2004. So, and I was appointed in 2015, which means that commission was 11 years old before I come in on board.
That time it was Lawan Kenkera.
And nobody had much.
It was Lawan?
Yes, I could remember vividly. Yes, there's sorry, there's Aminu Inua,
yes,
and Lawan Kenken, and one other person that comes before me.
Yeah.
I could remember, yes. So vividly, that commission was 10 years old before I came in, but we were able to rebrand the commission to make the commission look what it is today.
As if you were the
and
first
anybody that, yeah. Yes, if I'm not blaming my trumpet, that is what everybody will tell you in Kano. So as far as I'm concerned, it's the passion. When you have passion in the job, yes, political parties are vehicles to power. But when you come to power, be it NNPP, be it APC, you will go and you will you will take an oath that you will do right to all manner of people without fear or payable affection or ill will, that you will not allow your personal interest to influence your official conduct or your official decision. So as far as I'm concerned, I go by this doctrine, and I will not allow myself to be influenced by any other factor apart from my conscience and passion to this job.
All right, Barrister, those close to the immediate past government allege that you were actually removed as chairman of the Anti-Corruption Commission because of dual loyalty. They felt that while you have good relationship with Governor Ganduje, you still have affinity with Konkoso, and midway they realized that maybe you are double first. Is that correct?
No, my allegiance is the people of Kano State. And that is why we were able to conduct the investigation which we have carried out.
Okay.
In the course of this discussion, you said that we were alleged to have conducted investigations that relate to Pest family.
Yeah.
We investigated those that were in the traditional institution.
Yes.
We investigate, but I came out openly and claimed that we opened an investigation into the issue of alleged dollar video.
Yeah.
Anybody with usable information shall come forward. So now, at least, I was bold enough to do what we did. So if anybody will claim that I have dual loyalty, my answer to that is I have loyalty to the people and my conscience. And secondly is, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Another aspect of what I want you to understand is that when I was suspended July 2021.
Yeah.
But I could remember, I think January 2021. That is probably about 5 months prior to that time. The governor invited the now incumbent president to come and commission the new remodel office of that agency.
Wow.
And he made some remarks in that place that the commission is independent and that commission can go after anybody and he will not interfere. Even though at least posterity has proved otherwise, but at least I'm just trying to let you understand that the difference between my ouster and when the journey was going very well is not much more than 3 months.
All right.
And there's nothing tangible enough for anybody that is claiming otherwise to come and show to you that I have any allegiance to anybody. My allegiance is to the people of Kano State, and I did my work diligently to the best of my ability.
I remember an interview we had with you where you said when Ganduje leaves office, if you have your way, you will revisit the dollar issue. Are you going to revisit it now that you are back to your office?
I mean it.
Welcome back, and in case you're just joining us, you're watching Daily Politics on Trust TV. Do well to follow us across our social media platforms on Facebook, Twitter. You can watch us live on YouTube. Back here in the studio, the conversation is centered on developments around the preparations in Kogi State for the next gubernatorial election. It is an off-season election, and as you can imagine, it is quite a tense situation. So we're discussing the optics, the politicking, the issues, and unpacking it with the media aid of the gubernatorial candidate of the Social Democratic Party in Kogi State, Mr. Ajaka, and Farouk. Mr. Farouk is here to continue to double down on what some of the issues are and how the SDP is positioned to take the victory when the polls open later this year. Just before the break, you did make some pronouncements about your position on Yahya Bello. It's safe to say that there's no love lost between you two. But in the interest of Kogi State, for instance, do you think that it doesn't help when the conversation is toxic, the conversation is poisonous, whether it's APC to SDP or APC to PDP or PDP to SDP or PDP to APC? Do you believe that all political parties have a responsibility to lower the temperature in Kogi State for the interest of Kogi State?
Thank you very much. This is the truth of the situation.
You didn't say yes or no.
Well,
the question is, do you think all the parties have a responsibility?
The point I'm trying to make is this. No other party has raised any tension at any time in Kogi. This isn't the first time elections are happening in Kogi. There have been several elections before Yahya Bello came on board. Okay? For instance, the last election that happened before Yahya Bello came, Governor Wada was in charge. Not one person. At least 2 major elections, the presidential and National Assembly and House of Assembly elections, not one life was lost, one was not lost. Issues of thuggery was almost non-existent. Okay? Abubakar Audu and Wada contested the election. Abubakar Audu was coasting to victory when he died. Then Bello was awarded his vote Bello was not a candidate in that election. The Supreme Court of Nigeria said that was okay.
Yeah, so that's no longer an issue, isn't it?
No, why would it not be an issue?
The courts have settled it.
Yes, we agree. They have settled it. So that is why nobody can do anything about it. But our courts have been known to give very strange judgments. But that is another issue for another day. Okay? He inherited votes. Now, after Bello came into office, every election now turns out to be violent in Kogi. If I ask you to name one person in APC or below this now has been killed as a result of elections, you cannot name one. Neither can anybody do so. Okay?
What is that point supposed to
The point is very simple, that the violence is coming from Bello to other people. Okay? Other people are on the defensive. The last election, the helicopter was shooting from the air. We identified the people who were in that helicopter. One of them was a guy called Quincy, who is a thug of Bello. The second one was, what was his name? No, we identified them. It was a police helicopter. It was his agency that was in that helicopter. He shot at people.
Allegedly, right? You have to remember to say that, because we can't verify the information.
That the helicopter shot was allegedly, or the people were inside.
No, the people inside.
Okay, it was a Nigerian police helicopter.
Okay.
Where else can you?
Did you see the insignia of the police?
Yes.
Allegedly, you saw the insignia.
I didn't allegedly see it. I saw it.
You saw it.
How many other people saw it? The video is there. This is not in contest.
Right.
This is not in contest. Only how many months ago, one person left Natasha and I said, one person who was supporting Bello, his name was Shafiu or so. He said he wasn't supporting Bello anymore. There are pictures. Natasha showed the pictures of Bello's chief of staff, and this particular human being. The moment he crossed over and said he wasn't supporting Bello anymore, and went over to Natasha, they invaded the Trademore Estate in Lugbe here.
Okay.
And said that the guy was a terrorist.
Okay.
Now, what I'm trying to say is that the tension, the violence is coming from one direction. Other people are defending themselves. Okay. Yes, they can. The politics in Kogi, the tension can go down if the governor agrees to abide by the rules. If he agrees not to abuse power, to torment and kill other people.
Okay. Just for the sake of this conversation, we do know that Governor Bello enjoys immunity, so clearly you can't take him to court to prosecute him on anything. Are you planning to, after everything is said and done and he's no longer governor, are you planning to, because you appear to have a lot of evidence about all of these things that you're saying, are you planning to?
The evidences are glaring, even apart from electoral violence.
No, are you
even apart from the electoral violence, even evidences of crime, of corruption. The EFCC produced those evidences. They have seized his houses. They have garnished a lot of his accounts. These things have happened. Nobody can prosecute him for now. But by the grace of God, his tenure will be over. When his tenure is over, yes, we shall make moves to ensure that every crime committed by this fellow, he will be brought to book.
Right, okay, allegedly.
You like the word.
No, it's important to be very official about it. Okay, let's talk about the dynamics here, the power shift conversation. We have to circle back. Has Kogi East produced a governor before?
Yes, Kogi East produced 2 governors, yes.
Okay, and
3 Democratic governors. One person served 1 term. Yeah. One person served 1, 2 people served 1 term.
Okay.
1 person served 2 terms.
And Bello from Central just served 8 years.
Yes, 2 terms.
So for a lot of people watching from inside Kogi and from outside Kogi, say, in the interest of fairness, it looks like it's the turn of Kogi West to produce the next governor of Kogi State.
I will not dispute that. I will not dispute that if all of that is very equal.
But your candidate is not from Kogi West.
My candidate is not from Kogi West, but I will tell you something. You see, you do not put something on nothing and expect it to stand. If you have an agreement, for instance, take for instance the APC presidential contest, the governors of the North came together and said, no, we're not backing the Northerner. We're not contesting. You should go to the South, because there's an agreement that you should go to the South. In Kogi, there's never been such an agreement. Every governorship primaries in all parties have always been contested by all the senatorial districts. There is no time that anybody emerged because he came from one tribe or the other. They have always emerged. Now, if you talk about primaries, if you talk about the population of Kogi East, I will agree, yes. But if you talk about intra-party primaries, you will now know that Kogi East does not even enjoy any overwhelming population, because Kogi East has 7 local governments.
Is it 7 or 8?
9 local governments.
9. Right.
And the other The other parts have 12. We have 21 local governments.
You mean the other 2 senatorial
Yes,
zones?
together they have 12.
Right.
Okay?
So it means Kogi
with
East
those
has
12
a majority.
Yes, we have majority when it comes to senatorial district issue. But when it comes to intra-party primaries, if you combine the 2 other senatorial districts, their delegates are always more than the delegates of Kogi East. Isn't it? Now, there is no agreement of, okay, this year, Kogi East will give it to you. After you serve your term, you sit down. It's going to be the turn of Kogi Central. After that, it's going to be the turn of Kogi West. There's no such agreement. Each time, all of us, all the candidates go to contest. And in AMPP in 1999, Abubakar Audu emerged from AMPP. Dr. What do you call him? Olorunfemi. Dr. Stephen Olorunfemi, late, both of them are late now, emerged from the PDP. After the election, Abubakar Audu won the election. And mark you, Olorunfemi got a lot of votes from Kogi East. Omala local government, for instance, where he had his running mate. Omala local government gave him overwhelming votes. So it's not as if it is always an ethnic thing, isn't it? Okay. In 2003, Abubakar Audu was still the candidate of the AMPP. Governor Idris and many other people ran for the PDP ticket. At the end of the day, it came down to 2 people. There was a runoff between Governor Idris and late Eti Ahmed. When it came down to that runoff, Governor Idris defeated Eti Ahmed by simple majority. Now, if it is about ethnicity, the way it's being painted, 12 local governments against 9, with more delegates. Because the delegates of party is not based on the population of anybody. It is either based on ad hoc delegates, or statutory delegates.
Yeah, but I don't think your point stands, because those 2 senatorial districts are not under one umbrella. We're talking about one major ethnic group that has 9 local governments, for instance,
Yes.
against 2 senatorial districts that has various other tribes within. So I don't think.
But I'm now telling you that 2 people emerged, one from Kogi East and one from Kogi Central.
Okay, can we agree?
You understand? So it is not as if the 3 senatorial districts presented candidates at the runoff. Only 2 presented candidates. So if Idris was able to get the majority of the votes, it means that from those 12 local governments, he must have gotten some more votes.
Can we say that back in 2003,
yes,
this identity politics wasn't an issue in Kogi State, but now, because Yahya Bello came from Central, served 8 years, and he has endorsed and anointed a candidate that is also coming from Central, and that is why these issues are now on the front burner.
Well, yes, in a way, yes. It's not just they are. They are not just on the front burner because the person is from Central, but the manner. But you have hotly disputed that Yahya Bello wasn't the one who brought him in. It was, what did you call it, direct primaries and whatever.
When did I dispute that?
No, you did.
I said he won the election through direct primaries. I never said Yahya Bello doesn't support him.
Okay, I'm saying that Yahya Bello practically imposed him. Okay, that is what I am saying, and I'm insisting. Now, this fellow, sir. Yeah. This fellow is not only from Central.
Right.
He's from Yahya Bello's local government of Okene. He's from his ward, and it's Yahya Bello's blood relation. Okay? Now, they will now say ethnic politics. Even in Central, you think people are happy. Are they slaves to Yahya Bello? Must he be his brother?
You just mentioned, sorry to cut you, you just mentioned that your candidate is the best candidate, regardless of his ethnicity or the region he comes from.
Yes.
Why are you saying the same thing? Why aren't you saying the same thing about Ododo? Why does him being a relative of Yahya Bello matter? Why does him being from the same ward with Yahya Bello matter?
I don't want to talk about Ododo. What is his pedigree? Where is he coming from? Where is he coming from? Apart from being an aide of Yahya Bello, until recently he was the Auditor General of the local government. Local government, where local government staff don't take salaries. Okay.
I mean, I don't expect you to speak glowingly of Ododo.
No, but these are facts now. These are facts.
Yeah, but he's
local
still your
governments in Kogi State till now.
He
said what?
He's still your opponent, so I don't expect that you're going to speak kindly.
Of course, I'm not supposed to be doing PR for my opponent, but that doesn't mean that whatever I say about him is false either. Okay, these are facts. He was Auditor General, local government staff in Kogi. I was the local government chairman. Apart from being a journalist, I was also a local government chairman. As at the time we left, we were not able to pay full salaries because of the paucity of funds. At least the government comes out to explain. We go out to explain. We meet labor people, we do all that. But as I talk to you today, either at the local government level or at the state government level, no civil servant can tell you how much he expects as the salary at the end of the month. He takes what he sees, if he gets at all. There are months they don't get. As I talk to you...
Allegedly, right?
Okay, you like the words. Allegedly. Okay, now, as I talk to you, as I speak to you, the political appointees of Yahaya Bello are yet to collect April, May salary. It is June already. It is already June. They have not collected the salary, and even civil servants are being owed 2 months. Now, there are lots of backlog. Some of them as much as 26 months arrears, either half or full, that is there, they've not been paid. All right? Now, this is the man who is now bringing somebody who participated in this government that has not paid civil servants, little record of any infrastructure or anything at all. This is he's now bringing this man, and you expect the man to be as popular as a pristine candidate that we brought in the SDP, a candidate that has pedigree, a member, a former member of the National Working Committee of the APC.